And welcome to the Pretty Extreme Podcast. I'm your amazing host, PX Floro. I have an amazing show today, just like every show, because I was able to connect to one of my old time friends. It's been about over 20 years since we probably like even really connected or hung out. And he recently had me on his podcast. It's going to be coming out in December called Society. So be sure to check out that podcast when it comes out. Don't say comes. But in the meantime, I'd like you to introduce you to one of my pretty extreme friends. Billy Lee is in the building.
Yo, hello. Mic check. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you. I
I
can
got a
hear you.
couple of I got a couple of sounds.
Hey.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing? How's your day?
So far pretty crappy. I woke up, I cleaned my house, and then I almost caught my hair on fire.
Wow.
Like literally, like I was about to uh smoke a bowl, and then I almost lit my hair on fire. And I was like, you know what? I think that's a sign that either A, I need to stop smoking, or B, not put my hair up because it's only been happening when my hair is up, not when it's down, which is weird because
Yeah.
you would think it would happen more with my hair down. No,
Oh,
it's when
wow.
my hair is in a bun,
Yeah.
and then like if I like tilt my head, like, cause I have a bong, right? So if I tilt my head down, then the hair that's like out of my bun is in the fire. And
Oh,
like there was a
wow.
couple times where I thought I did, but I was like, no, I didn't. But this time it was clear because I could see the fire like going up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
dynamite like on a string. And I was like,
Dang.
oh shit! And I was like, I
You
could
gave
have been
yourself a haircut with fire.
yeah, I could have been at the hospital, like, cause I was like, fuck, hair goes up hella fast. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I'm like hitting myself in the head, and now
Yeah.
my studio smells like burnt hair.
Oh, damn. Now you
Yeah,
got
but it's all right.
now you got to open the window and burn some
The
incense.
window's already open. I know that's probably why it went up even faster because there was air coming into the room. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna burn my head off.
Oh shit.
But
Damn,
I survived.
nice. Right.
Yeah,
Glad you're still here.
that's a good wake up morning. You know what I mean? Like,
That
I
would
mean,
definitely
who
wake you up.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be so woke. In the
Yeah.
morning, I was like making my coffee and stuff.
Nice. Still drinking a black
But
straight.
yep, drinking it
Like
black straight. Not
recently
like
I
not like
saw
my men. Not like my men. In case you're asking, I was like, I like all
hey
flavors.
to each his
I
own.
don't
No,
not discriminate.
yeah, right. Like to each his own. But yeah, recently I saw a meme. It says I like my coffee so strong that I want to show up in my like piss test or something. I was like, whoa, shit, that's
You want
intense.
my coffee so strong that it shows up in my piss test?
Yeah, I was like,
I
or
I'm
like
pretty
drug
sure
test. Oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it shows up in people's piss tests. They just don't give a fuck about coffee. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's caffeine,
yeah.
but that's funny. That means that person really likes it strong. I think it's funny when people are like, "I like my coffee strong," but then they add all kinds of crap to it.
Yeah. Oh, like
I'm
their
like,
coffee is like like a frappuccino, like
frappuccino's a frappuccino. You know what I mean? Like, frappuccino's a frappuccino. Blended drinks is a blended drink. But when people say, "I want strong coffee," but they're like, "Can you add like 4 things of syrup and like 5 ounces of milk?" And like, I'm like, now it's not even strong. It's just watered down or like diluted, if that makes sense.
right?
I mean, it still has its taste, but
Well, I mean,
but
I don't
I
think
think
I
it's
have
funny.
tasted enough hardship in life yet that you can appreciate just black
Maybe
coffee.
that's why. Yeah, you know what? That is 100% right. Which kind of leads to a pretty extreme story. The only reason why I only started drinking black coffee probably within the past 10 years, and I believe people can change. That's why I'm like, I'm always hopeful when it comes to people, right? And
Right?
and I and I and I believe that based on my own self, right? So when I used to drink coffee, I used to drink it different kinds of ways because I was like trying to find my taste, right? And then drink at Starbucks or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then I used to always drink with cream and sugar, at least sugar. And then one day, like I was too lazy to go to the grocery store. I couldn't afford it at the time. I forget. It was either I was too lazy or I couldn't afford it, which could have been both. Like I was like, I don't need creamer, coffee, or sugar. And then I just started drinking it black.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I just got used to the taste. And now when I drink it with like creamer and sugar, it's like too sweet for me. I mean, I'll have it every now and then just to taste it, but it's like too sweet. So that's my pretty extreme story of how I started drinking black coffee. Because some people are like, no, I cannot even try it. And I'm like, really? I think it
Yeah,
tastes better, but that's me. It tastes better to me now.
that's kind of like me with like tequila. I just don't use chasers anymore.
You drink, so you drink. Is that your poison?
I just
Tequila
drink it
when it comes to
straight.
drinking.
That's like the kind of alcohol my body would tolerate, like that I won't.
Interesting.
No,
Really? So what about like vodka or
I can't do vodka. I can't do whiskey. I can't do beer
interesting.
or wine or,
But
I,
tequila you can.
yeah.
You know
And
what's funny? I can't do tequila, anything else, but I can do vodka. But only one, just one shot of vodka. If I go one and a half, if I go two, I'm dying.
oh, yeah.
So
And
that's funny. Tequila is your drink. Like do you get red?
no. Like happy drunk. No. Well, I'm happy drunk, but I don't get red. I only can do like the reposado. I can't even do blanco. Like, I just
Like bottom shelf tequila.
bottom shelf. I don't
Is
know.
that bottom shelf tequila? Because I don't drink, so I don't know any of the names of tequilas. I just know tequila, vodka, brandy, gin. Like I don't know the brands.
Or like rum and all of those things. Yeah.
Rum. Yeah, I know the name of the alcohol, but I don't know what the brands are the alcohol.
Yeah.
But you just named two different types of tequilas. It
Well,
sounds like.
like reposado, it's like the browner kind. Like,
Oh, brown or tequila?
yeah, and blanco means white, so like, like the clear like water. Like I kind of stick
You
don't
can't
really.
do the clear.
I prefer the brown. I get.
Probably because it's too diluted. Like it's too much alcohol. Like because I feel like the more clear it is,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
like
I
brown
don't
or
know.
like
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it's smoother for me. And also, like we've always kind of used to, drinking tequila with like lime and salt and stuff. But
Oh,
actually,
that's how you take it, right? You take the tequila, you take the lime, and then the salt, right?
right.
Or
But
salt, lime, whatever. Yeah.
actually, the best chaser with that is actually cinnamon on orange. So yeah,
Interesting.
you take a lick of the orange and the cinnamon, and then you have a shot, and then you drink the tequila, because tequila already made you want to like squish your face in. So if you have lime and salt, which is another extra effect of making your face all smooshed in. But if you have the taste of the cinnamon and the orange, and then you have a sip of your shot, like your face won't like smoosh in.
Pucker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So wait, are you putting the cinnamon on your hand like they do with salt? Like
yeah.
how they
Oh,
okay.
no,
Or are you putting it on the orange?
yeah,
Or
yeah. Cinnamon will be on the orange. Yeah.
that's so funny. That sounds like a Chinese way of doing a tequila shot. I've never
Actually,
heard of that.
a Latino gentleman recommended.
Latino,
Yeah. So I was like,
which
hmm.
by the way, in case anyone's wondering what nationality Billy Lee is, he's Chinese. In case you haven't
I'm a
figured it out.
human. Yeah, but I'm Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I'm,
but I think it's interesting because I never heard the only other tequila way of taking a shot is the only other way I've heard is taking a shot of tequila, the lime and the salt, and then I heard of a tequila stunt man. Have you heard of that?
that I have not heard. What is that?
Okay, so the tequila stunt man, I found out about this from Your Worst Neighbors podcast. It's another podcast that I'm actually on. My co-host was like, "Hey, have you heard of the?" Oh no, we had a guest that was like, "Have you heard?" Oh no, I forget. It was either someone in the podcast was like, "Have you heard of the tequila stunt man?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, okay, what it is you snort salt,
Wow.
squeeze lime in your eye, and then you take the shot. And they say because you're in so much pain from the salt and the lime, like you don't even notice the shot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my head, like, I would rather not do any of those things.
That is pretty extreme for sure.
And I
Uh,
was like, that's some white people shit. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I,
And guess
I,
what? Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I think I saw Steve-O from Jackass did that
He did
before.
that
Yeah.
tequila stunt man.
Yeah. I was like,
I
holy.
remember him doing the sniffing stuff. Like I remember he was sniffing all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Like I remember him sniffing salt, and then I remember him sniffing wasabi. Like
Wasabi.
just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like that's extreme. And poor guy. Like I know he's like recovering or trying to,
Oh yeah,
like
Steve-O
the
is like.
jackass.
Yeah, like Steve-O is like a changed man. He's healthy, and yeah, he have a podcast, and yeah, he's
Yeah, good
very.
for him.
He's doing stand up. Yeah, he's doing stand up. So
That's a pretty extreme like timeline of life for him because like when I was watching Jackass, like I thought that was show was so extreme, and then they came out with like multiple sequels. Like the first one, I was like, okay, and then after I'm just like, I just couldn't get into it.
yeah,
I just
um,
couldn't get into it. Like to me, it was like, ooh, like oh, But I give them props because they were doing some pretty crazy shit, and some people thought it was hilarious. But the outcome of like what happened with some of these guys in this crew, like alcohol and drug addiction, was like the biggest challenges for them. Not even just doing the movie.
yeah. When you're away from families, and or but things that you're dealing with, and sometimes people use substance to kind of cope
Substance
with.
abuse, yeah.
But
Just
in the same
hopefully you just get out of it.
Yeah, like, but alcohol is an interesting thing because it's like, not that I mean, and I don't not here like recommend, or but it's just like this is just my own opinion. It's just like, I feel like alcohol. It's like, people are sad they drink alcohol, but they're happy they also drink alcohol. So
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
it's kind of hard to be like, oh, if someone drink alcohol, then they're abused. Saying it could be, I mean, yeah, and I think if
It
yeah,
can be
if
abusive. Alcohol
mismanaged,
can be
yeah,
abusive. Yeah,
definitely,
like I feel like everything should be just taken in small doses. And I thought it was interesting because you said, oh, tequila makes me happy. Like I'm a happy drunk. I know people who take tequila and they become like mean drunks. Like,
yeah,
and they tell
that's
me
tough.
like I can't drink tequila because I become a mean drunk. And I'm like, oh. So I feel like I've never really been a drinker too much. I mean, I wish I could drink, and I only know my limit because I've seen it happen. I've tested the waters or the vodka, so to speak.
Uh,
And so when it came to drinking, like I knew I couldn't drink a beer, like a full beer, I cannot drink. I'll throw up. Like the whole, like I'm like alcohol poisoning if I drink a whole beer.
yeah.
I can't drink more than one shot of anything. It could be brown, it could be white, I mean, it could be clear, white. I can't drink it. I can't drink anything more than one shot. Like I'll start to get red, but I've noticed with clear, like I'm more like in control. Like I can still be like, okay, I don't feel so sick. But if I take two shots or a shot and a half of clear, anything, I'll start I'll start dying. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic. And
Yeah.
so I've been around people like pretty much sober most of my life, but my friends laugh because they're like, really sober? You do coke? You've done shrooms? You've done? I was like, fuck yeah, I've done all those things too. I'm like, and it doesn't phase me. I'm not saying like I'm not here to judge anybody, right? I'm not here to judge anybody who drinks. I'm not here to judge anybody who do drugs. I just want to recommend to people, you know what I mean, to properly take care of yourself when doing recreational activities, because we want to avoid addiction. Like, I feel like addiction is a common thing. And I think you mentioned it in your pod. I don't know if you mentioned it, maybe someone else might have mentioned. Like, addiction comes in different ways, right? It's not always necessarily alcohol, it's not necessarily drugs. It could be like, I really like doing this so many times, but define addiction, right? It's like, is it something that I guess you can't stop or can't live without? But some people have good addictions, some people have bad addictions. Again, I'm not here to judge, but I just like people on this earth while we're still here, pace ourselves because there's things all over the world that's literally here to kill us, and it's not even alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's crazy. There's things like in nature that we don't even know, and then next thing you know, like, we're dead, and no explanation. But I think, as far as definitely not here to judge anybody and anything like that. And I think, like, an addiction, right? There's good addiction, and there's bad addiction. But I think too much of anything, it's just not good. Even if you're doing something healthy, if you just overly, like, 100% dive right on in, there's no balance. I mean, you might not physically harm yourself, but nobody wants to meet somebody that's like 100%, like, positive battery as well, especially if you're battling struggle. You're like, hey, I see you're happy, I get it, but it's just, can you just tone it down a little bit? So it's like, so if you wanted to look for, like, a negative effect, well, like, that could be negative, right? Because while you're thinking, hey, I'm enlightened, I'm I'm in enlightenment period right now, and I'm doing well, and I just wanted to share. But not everybody is, like, wanted to hear. So I think it's about, your self grow. You keep it to yourself, and you're conscious and you're aware, and that consciousness and awareness, makes you more compassion to other people's feelings. So if you want to reach out to them, you have to appeal to them that they can understand and relate first. You know what I mean? It's like, just, you know right in someone's face and just like, hey, I can help you get better, and then most likely nobody will want it, like, inclined to listen. So it's like, how to approach, it's very important. And I think, like, coke or shroom, that's like way too different of the spectrum, because coke is, sure, it came from coca leaves and all of that, so it's kind of natural, but you still have to kind of go through, like, a manufacture, like like a process to, you know in order to do that. So, which, that's the problem, is like, you don't know what are they, mixing it with. But, mushroom, like cannabis, those are more natural, um that, it's not manufactured, you know what I mean? At least less. I'm sure they still add something in there, but it's definitely less harmful. And also, I think mushrooms shouldn't be treated as a recreation. But I mean, it feels good. You eat it and you listen to some electronic music, EDM, and you watch lights and stuff like that. It's an amazing, sensation. But I think, like, like acid, or, mushroom, cannabis, is like more to help you, like, connect with nature and stuff. And, it's just kind of interesting, is like, you see, like, these things that I just mentioned, they're supposed to, like, this is what I think,
Wait,
supposed to,
isn't acid man-made too?
uh if you extract it, you know what I mean, like, but
Because I
there's,
mean, everything's extracted. Like I was thinking about like coke is chopped up. You know what I mean?
but
Ecstasy is
the
chopped up.
definitely, because if it's like just cocaine, like, people would die because it's
No
just
one,
here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. No one has just cocaine. I'm talking about just like cocaine on the streets. I'm not talking about pure cocaine. No one's doing
Yeah,
pure cocaine. But like you look at the drugs now, even weed has been bio
yeah, that it's definitely,
mutated. You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah,
So
yeah,
like to me, when the way I look at paraphernalia, drugs or whatever, I say man-made beer, God-made weed. Like who do you trust, right?
yeah,
But things can be altered so much by man now. It's like it's not even what it is. You know what I mean? So it's like people still have addictions to weed. People still have addiction, but like you said, when it comes to like shrooms, acid, weed, it's more of like euphoric, I guess you could say, versus like cocaine, heroin, and all that other stuff is like a little bit more hardcore. But like I said, everyone does drugs differently. And I'm not saying go do drugs and I'm not saying don't do drugs. What I'm saying is just if you're human, people should experiment, like if they want to, but just pace yourself. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying. Even when it doesn't even have to be drugs, it could be soda. You know what I mean? It could be eating candy. Just pace yourself. You said something earlier. You're like sometimes too much of something is what did you say?
too much of anything is not good. Does that have to be a,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. 100%, except water. You can never have too much water.
yeah, you can still die drinking too
I mean,
much.
you can drown.
No, no, seriously, if you drink too much water, and one time, you can die, because that's like overly your body can consume, so,
And it doesn't digest it. See,
right.
so too much of anything. How about too much oxygen? Can you die? Too much oxygen
uh it can have a really, really bad aneurysm, I suppose, because,
from
like,
breathing too much.
well, like, let's say you're, like, in a nature, and, like, they all just rush, like a mountain or something, like, just all large portion are coming, you
I think
know
you can have like a
like hard to breathe,
breathing problem.
meaning, but, it's funny, when that,
I got you. I got you stumped. Love.
too much love,
You can't too much of love.
yeah, because, like, because when
You're
you
like, yeah, too much of anything.
well, okay,
You
the reason why I said too much love, okay, let's say like you have too much love, so all you think about is positive, and all you think of when you think about positive, you think about giving and like, and be compassion, and then there's people, unfortunately, they see your generosity and they say, hey, what can I take advantage of? It's unfortunate that we still live in a world like this, and instead of like, wow, this person is giving and loving and kind, and that's great, and if people need help and they can get help, that's fantastic, but instead it's like, oh wow, this person can do all of these things for me, so I'm gonna befriend them, and that's unfortunate that we still have to deal with these kind of things in our society, because I think, yes, jealousy and all of that, like, it's like the original sin or whatever, like, it's human and capable, but also they can be unlearned. A little bit off subject, but I've heard, like, people always said, oh, human has been fighting ever since. Yes, that partially is true, but there is also a time when there is enough abundance for everyone that people don't really have to fight, nor they have to kill. What happened is like a catastrophic, event happened, that like majority of the land were destroyed, and people have to migrate and they move into a new territory, and because they have to migrate and move away, and they might encounter some people that are already there, and they might try to, in the beginning, not a forceful way, might just say, hey, listen, like, we're migrating here from this place because of this things happen. And in the beginning, the people might not like, fighting to deny them, but just like, hey, we understand and we feel bad and we really want to help, but we also have limited, but we only have limited abundance here. So, right, whoever is outside waiting the gate, they might say, oh, oh, I understand. And but one day turns into a week turns into a month. People are gonna get hungry. When you get hungry enough, eventually, you have to do something to, feed your stomach and feed your family. And right, our ancestors have done it, and then like the next generations have done it, and then sure, up to a 200 years ago, yeah, we finally see more peace comparing to like, the ancient time. But whatever happened to them is in their DNA, and that DNA is passing on to us. So sure, now we're on 2023 and we're sitting on the desk and drinking coffee and staring at an iPad. But whatever happened millions of years ago in our ancestors, it's still ingrained in our DNA. So to completely deny and think that the past have nothing to do with us, I just don't think, you know people have enough information, to understand that.
right. Well, so I mean, I'm very familiar with what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and
Especially,
it's
the warriors that, like before, I mean, and also like the word Philippines, honestly, it's like given by Spaniards, so that's not even the terms, is it by Asian? I'm sorry, I'm
it's crazy when the
sorry, my
Spaniards invaded the Philippines. It was the Muslims that came from everywhere to help the Philippines escape from captivity, right? But they didn't even really escape; they just pretty much fought back.
yeah,
And like we think about like the Muslim culture, I never really understood because I didn't know anyone, right? And then when I actually had a friend that was Muslim and I had a friend that was Jewish, it
yeah,
was like mind blowing because like they pretty much think the same thing. They want the best, you know what I mean, for their people, and it's not even about religion, it's not even about race, it's not even about color. It's more about like there's more people out there spreading hate instead of love because love wins. I don't care what anybody says. You could be the most hateful person on this fucking planet, but that one hateful person loves, adores their wife, their
yeah,
husband, You know what I mean? Their children, or they could just be loving themselves, which is a pure narcissist.
Yeah.
But love still wins. You know what I'm saying? Like even
Of
if you're a narcissist and you're gonna try and win, you know what I mean? Like that wins over anything else.
yeah. And honestly, like I think the whole saying, like, there's a lot of like bad people out there, like doing bad things, which is true. But also, I think there's just a much amount of good people doing good things, because like sometimes like we look at negative and we go, oh my god, how can somebody do so like such as horror, like things, horrible things. But these horrible events, sometimes when we looked at it and we go, oh my god, this is terrible, I'm not gonna do that, and then it motivate us to do something positive. So as a,
Right. I think we need to teach, right? I feel like,
it's unfortunate that we have to deal with negative, but we can turn that into positive,
you know,
so
the
yeah.
way I look at like crime, like thieves, right? Burglars,
Yeah.
predators. The way I look at it is we cannot stop them. We can never stop them. There's that they have their way of thinking, their way of, you know, functioning, and we can't stop them. The only thing we can do is we can educate ourselves and learn how to be preventable. Learn how to be avoidable. Learn to diffuse a situation instead of adding fuel to that fire, and then now there's violence. Like excuse me, I have gone through 40 years of my life of never getting into a fight, a
Like this,
physical fight.
yeah, good. It's not that
You know what
fun.
I mean?
There's really
It,
no.
and it's not that hard, obviously. I mean, I'm 40 years old,
Yeah.
and I want to show people that it is possible. Now, mind you, the only fight and altercation I ever been in with my ex-husband, my third ex-husband, I was in a domestic violence
Oh my goodness.
marriage, and it sucks that it took that moment to realize like something has to change. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
And
But
looking back, like I want to empower people who are in abusive relationships. Like, okay, yeah, maybe I wasn't in the relationship for 20 years. I mean, I was in the relationship for 20 years because I knew this guy for 23 years. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like that
yeah.
guy was one of my best friends. Like at the drop of a hat, we would hit each other up. Like, I got you. What do you need? I got you. You know what I mean? I'm here for you. What's up?
Yeah.
And to find out that person isn't who they are and you married them, it's devastating.
Yeah.
And I feel like it tried to build so much hate. Like I could feel that, and I want to say I hated him, but I didn't. I didn't. I couldn't hate him because I married him.
Yeah. But you're hurt. You're definitely
But
hurt.
I'm hurt, and
Yeah.
that's how I know love wins because I love myself
Yeah.
enough to leave,
Yeah.
and
Um.
not even just myself, my kids. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely. Yeah. There's more reason for you to live. Like
not
CPX.
even to live, to protect yourself, because there's people out there that are alive and that are in relationships like that.
No,
Then
that is
you know
that
what
is.
I mean?
Cool.
Like they just think that they're stuck. So like
It,
hate is the fuel.
nowadays the rent is so high that people stay in
Stay
relationships.
together.
Right. Yeah. And
100%. They
for
don't
that,
get divorced because it's too expensive.
right? Like, that's like how mind-blogging is that? That's the
That's
reason.
that's
Yeah.
that's mental health trauma. That's
Right.
what that is.
But
You put these
here,
people in these
right?
situations. The government puts them in this situation. How is it like you can get married in 30 minutes, but you can't even get divorced until minimum 6 months in the state of California? How does that even make sense? How does that make sense? Oh my gosh, I need to be an advocate and try to put a bill and be like, you know what? If you've been in a domestic violent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Domestic violent marriage, you should be able to be like, bitch, I'm out. Let's hear what you want. Let's hear what you want. Okay, the bitch who got their ass beat, they get it. Whatever it is, or whatever the situation is. Obviously, a judge is going to have to get involved. I have no legal, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
certifications in any way. But I'm like, this is why I kind of started the podcast. It's pretty extreme. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to mental health, and I want to spread the love. Don't say spread, but uh, like I said, I appreciate I was on your podcast, Billy, and I love you, man. It's been like 20 years since
Yeah.
we've still been friends, but we just recently connected because you started your podcast. So we're trying
Yeah,
to get back on track right now. Get back on track. Something that I always ask my uh, guests is, what makes you pretty extreme? And I think it's like, okay, you're just starting the podcast. It's going to be coming out in December, I think. But
yeah.
what makes you pretty extreme?
Wait, what makes me pretty extreme?
Yep.
I think I'm naturally already an extremist.
You're an extreme, pretty
So
extreme person.
yeah, naturally I am. I'm like very intense, but of course, I agree with you that love is the answer. So it's like, okay, so here I am coming to a realizations of who I am, not be ashamed of who I am, that I am an extreme person. I am an intense person. Intense, um, passionately, intensely passionate person.
Like
But
you love yourself. You believe in yourself.
well, I believe I just believe in life, but in the same,
Okay.
it's like I believe in everybody, but you
Yeah.
know, but
And yourself.
but that person have to apply themselves because there's so much potential. So if you apply yourself and in your potential and your
Love
passion,
yourself.
right? So so like I'm pretty extreme in that, but I'm more like a balanced person now. More try to
You
uh
have extreme balance.
more right, even in balance, trying to yeah, trying to balance my extremeness, but because too extreme sometimes is not good for the health. Like the intensity like can burn and kill cells, and you know what I mean. So we need cells, if not we'll die, and we'll slowly died. I mean, we are naturally as every second we enter the grave, so that makes it pretty extreme. So it's like, wow, there's only a limited of time, and you come to a realization that you'll never outlast time. Even if you live to your 125, okay, well, you know what, time has been around for billions of years, so what is 125 compared to a billion? So that's pretty extreme, right? You know what I mean? So to kind of have a perspective, you know what I mean, to like grasp it, like how tiny molecule we are in the universe, but in the same
Yeah, we're bacteria on the
yeah,
planet.
but in the same time is like so much potential and such a phenomenal life and experience, because no matter how terrible like society might be, there's still no better time to be alive than now. So
I don't know.
how about you? Okay, like
I
we
could
look
maybe
at,
be in the future, maybe in the past, a little bit like, different era. I don't know. I'm happy where I'm at. Like I'm grateful and thankful, but
yeah, I don't think you
it could
want
have
to
been
go
a better time.
70s, or like, I mean, like especially for us that's non-European American, it's like it was never really like a very very good time. And Chinese people has been in the US since like 1830s, 1820s, and like the first documented like immigrant of Chinese, it's like 1850. So all these people that tell whatever, like go back to where you're from, I mean, unless their ancestors is Native American or they're from the Mayflower, like we've been here just as long. So like it used to be a bug out to me when I watched like television, and a Chinese person, they always speak with an accent, and I was like, yo, we've been here like almost two like 150 years, like you can't find a person without an accent, but it's like, but that's the impression they're trying to sell you, and you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, but of course now there's a lot of shows where it's like, Asian people don't have to talk with an accent anymore and like play that gimmick. But it's just like, in our lifetime, we
That's funny that you noticed that.
we we,
I
we
didn't even I didn't even notice that when I would watch stuff.
yeah. I
But
mean,
you
I'm just
noticed that when you
like
were younger.
big in like history, because uh Chinese people has been like migrating. um
For days since railroads, that's what I remember.
well, okay, like it started when slavery was abolished,
Right.
and there
Oh,
was
when it was
a lot of
abolished?
Yeah, that was like in Jamaica, when slavery was abolished, and a lot of like tobacco leaves and like banana like plantation needs work. So Chinese people started like coming to um, not just United States, but also the Caribbean. They're in Cuba. They're in uh, Puerto Rico. They're in just basically like all of like Peru, like all over. And like their story is heartbroken because a lot of people, you know, catch a boat ride that lasts for months, and some didn't even make it alive, so they just like die on a boat ride. And then so it's like, so a lot of people are packed with trauma seeing people die like next to them, and they finally made it to this new land, and all they face are adversities. And it's like there's a saying, right? Many try, many die. Like a lot of people like died. and
Everybody lives, but not everybody dies.
and then
Or
what
everybody dies, not everybody lives.
that is actually very true, but I think that is because they were just too distracted that they never got a chance to
To
experience. Like,
live.
I
Yeah,
think if people have a choice to choose to live, I think they always choose to live. Like, but
live.
and then when
Right.
people think live, I mean like experience life. Like literally sit down, watch the tree, smell the air, listen. Like seriously, like
Or go for a walk.
like
You just go for a walk.
experience life. But it's like no, you because you have to go to work.
Enjoy. Or
It's like,
yeah.
or be careful because, it's dangerous outside. Like all of these sorts of like distractions that, you know, rather we, learn what read it from the news or social media or like friends or, it's like all of these things are telling us like, hey, you got to be like, it's just constantly in the survival mode. And if you need to survive, yeah, the survival mode will keep you, alive, keep you survive. But there has to be a time where you have to move on from survival mode because you can never really have friends. You can never build relationships if you're constantly in survival mode. Because you can never be at ease, and is that traumatic experience. It's pretty extreme. Like I remind myself, well, how do I know I'm really relaxed? When I can drop my chin, when I can relax and drop my chin. Like try it right now. Try to like relax your complete face and
Relax
drop.
my face.
Yeah, like relax your face completely, right? And see if you can drop your chin. If you can like drop your jaw, like drop your chin, because then when you do that, you go, oh my God. I thought I was
Mm,
just relaxing, not moving, but turns out even when I was relaxing, not moving, I was still
yeah.
tense.
Right.
So yeah, man, that learning is pretty extreme, so life is pretty extreme, you know what I mean? Yeah, so and how you interpret that information and how you share that, if it goes the wrong way, that could get extreme. So I think extreme is, it's always around us, you know what I mean?
I think everyone is extreme.
Everyone is extreme, yeah, especially for what they believe and love. I mean, as much as I'm calm and level, but if somebody trying to hurt one of my child, I mean, it's probably gonna sidekick that person like to the other house because like
Right.
nothing's gonna threaten your love. You have to, yeah. So that itself is pretty extreme, but of course, we don't want to, tap into that. We don't have to, but PX, I wanted to just touch on one thing earlier from what you said about like your relationships and like the you know
Toxicity.
right? But I get it like that because sometimes it's so easy to just say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I wasted all my time," or and gave it this person, and and it's like, how come I couldn't see it through? Like we get mad at ourselves because I was also have dealt with that before in my past relationship. But one thing that kind of helped relieve was I heard this saying. It goes, even in bad times, we feel like we love the wrong person, but just know that, hey, um, you're capable of loving. you are capable of love. Now it's unfortunate that our love was misused, but but this shows that we're always a loving person and capable to love. So now the lesson is be, more smart, with our approach when it comes to love, but don't lose love. Don't stop being loving. We just have to be wise. You just have to, you know take a little bit more time and observe, you know what I mean, and before we, let our guard down. But eventually, you want to be able to be around some, people that you can let your guard down, you know what I mean. If not, it's pretty, it's pretty exhausting. It's like, oh, the only time I can be myself is when I completely alone. Well, we're not meant to be alone, because if we're meant to be alone, there wouldn't be billions of us.
Right. And I agree with you, but I also 100% not necessarily, I mean, you see it as alone, I see it as individuality. You see
Oh
it
yeah,
as,
like a
you
lone
know,
introvert.
yeah, and you see it as also what was it you said earlier? Uh I forgot. But I see it more like, yeah, went through some stuff. And I agree with what you're saying. It's like the way I look at it though, I don't see it as alone, right? I see it as an individuality, not necessarily as a
Yeah.
as like, oh, because some people are meant to not have babies,
Well,
right?
like a lone.
Man and woman,
My bad.
right? Like, and so when I say when you say, oh, we're not meant to be alone, I think of, people are meant to be together. Obviously, that's one thing that I believe that we're put on this fucking planet to procreate, right? But there's also people who can't procreate. There's people who are also done procreating, and there's some people that I believe are really meant to be individual. And if there is room for love, I 100%. I'm the type of person that gives 100% love, but I don't think I need an individual person. You know what I mean? That someone would. I feel like the whole prince and princess is all like in our head. Marriage, I don't even believe in that. But you know what? People who do it, more power to them. It is a sacred thing. You know what I mean? For better, for worse, I give it to them. Don't get divorced. You know what I mean? That's my best advice. But
Yeah.
I'm like, in the end, whatever makes that person happy is what they should do. If they think they need to be with the partner, if they want to be with the partner, go be with the partner. But if they don't want to be with anybody, don't be with anybody. Like,
Yeah.
don't. Why torture yourself?
Yeah. Like, don't
You know what I mean?
worse for yourself. But I think being together and and then like break up, it's like natural, but it's just when you have to go through the system, that's when it makes it nasty, and they make you fight, because unfortunately they get a percentage of that. There's a program. It's like, oh, you want a divorce, or you want to try mediation first, and then you have to pay X amount of money, and like it's like, unfortunately, it's a business, and then when you're like in front of the stands, and they're gonna make you fight, because they're not allowed you to give context to your answer. Just like, it's a yes no answer, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I want to, but life is more than just a yes no question, and it's like, you're dealing with a judge that this is your case is already like their eighth case of the day. It's like, they're, so they have no attention span to listen to your, situation. But and your situation, and especially your situation, is not like a tiny situation. It's a really really big deal. But when you a really really big deal, but people don't have the attention span, to help you with your issue. It's very very frustrating. you know um you spend all that money in the court, and then you realize, man, we could have just solved this our own. Shit,
Some people do.
you know what I mean? Yeah, and it's like, man, I could give you 10% of the money that I spend on the lawyer fees or court fees. You know what I mean? It's like, rather just do that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, props to people that like are able to communicate and all of that. But I also think like reply with hate and nastiness, those are all taught as well.
Right.
Like, so everything that we learn, we can unlearn. And it's when you can do that, that's more power to you.
Oh yeah. Like you were saying, like, just after going through experiences like that, like I definitely learned my lesson. I'm definitely have my guard up. I mean, I had my guard up with my best friend. You know what I mean? Like I was like, no, I don't know if this is a good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it happened anyways. I had faith. I had hope. I had love, and apparently in that relationship, love wasn't strong enough. You know, addiction was stronger, and that's where it wasn't who the person that actually it was the person I married. He was addicted to drugs. I
Yeah.
fucking hate to say that shit, but it's 100%. Fuck that. I don't like it when people are like, I don't want my business out there. I want my business out there to let people know that it is happening. People are getting abused. People are getting addicted to drugs, and people are getting murdered because of it. People are dying from it. And
Yeah.
it's real. It's fucking real. And I
Definitely.
don't care what anybody says because at this point, like I'm trying to help save some people out there that
Yeah.
are going through that, can see it. They're like, fuck, I'm about to be in that type of fucking relationship, or you are in that relationship. Like,
Yeah.
protect yourself, love yourself enough to fucking leave. You know what I mean? No matter how long you've been in that relationship, save yourself. Like, I always
Absolutely.
ask people,
You know,
are you
uh,
ready to deal with that the rest of your life? Like, if you were in a relationship
I,
like that,
shit, that question is extreme. But see, like, right, to look at it in an extreme way, it's like, right, two people in a relationship, it's very toxic and couldn't, leave, one another, and then so if this is constantly, you know, that's how the relationship. It's not like all of a sudden one day they kind of calmly and go, okay, I'm gonna pack my stuff and I'm gonna go. Usually it had to be something really, really drastic. And unfortunately in this case, maybe like a fight, like a physical fight where police had to be called. It had to be like take to that extreme measure in order to like for these two people to break away. You know what I mean? So yeah, man,
yeah,
it's
that's why if there's anyone listening to this podcast who is in that situation and you think financially, oh, I can't get out, there are resources, there are shelters out there. They will take you. So I don't want anyone to ever think like, fuck, I can't leave. You can.
yeah,
And if you got kids, you can take them with you. And how I know that is I know women who've gone through it. I myself have been fortunate, very fortunate that I didn't have to go to a shelter, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it wasn't the best experience having to endure being like abused for 3 months just because you're trying to leave.
yeah, no, that's terrible. And I don't wish that on anybody, have to go through that. Because like, yeah, the older I get, the more I realize like how precious this life is, and to
100%.
you
Your
know
life is precious.
yeah,
Everyone's life is precious.
yeah, definitely, and everybody deserves to be loved
And feel
wholeheartedly,
loved, be
right?
treated, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, like, but yeah, so we
And
was
there is that. People think that's it. Oh, I'm okay, then I'm not gonna feel loved. You know what I mean? Again, there's different definitions of love for people. Their love languages are different. But if people are enduring like any type of pain and hate in their relationship, whether boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, husband, wife, whatever, doesn't matter. If you're feeling pain, like that's extreme. Like shouldn't have to feel too much pain. You know what I mean? It does
yeah,
take work in a relationship to be with someone, but if you are being physically or emotionally abused, like reach out. That's the first thing I can also say because love wins, right? You got to love yourself to be able to get the help. And I know it's going to be hard, but if there's anyone listening, anyone knows someone that's in that type of relationship, because I know people. Like that's the crazy part. Like I didn't even realize that I was going through, you know what I mean, emotional damage, and other people were going through something similar or had already gone through something similar. And
yeah,
it's so common. And you got a daughter, man. I got two daughters. My ex would tell me like, why would you tell them? Why would you let them see you like that? I'm like, excuse me, like I'm not gonna hide shit from my kids, and I want my kids to know. Like this can happen. It's happening, and I never thought I was gonna be that one to set that example,
yeah,
and it's a lesson.
yeah. That's definitely. But it's a tough lesson learned, but I think if you could make it out of that, that would definitely make you
Make
stronger.
it out.
you know.
Yeah, of course. I
And
took a self-defense class that actually
nice.
helped me get out of some of the situations I was in. And I'm so thankful because it did help. And I went back to that self-defense class because it was like a gift.
Yeah.
And then I told the instructor, like, hey, that fucking saved me.
Wait, that what you tell the instructor? I'm sorry.
I told the instructor like the moves or they were called horse bites, like the horse bites
Yeah.
that you taught us like saved me.
Oh, did you have to use it?
Yeah,
Oh
and
wow.
I mean, it worked. It 100% worked. Like,
Yeah.
when you're being attacked, you're thinking, I was like, okay, what I was normally doing, using all my energy trying to push someone off me, wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So it's like you never know what's gonna happen once you're in that situation. But I'm glad I took that one class for like 1 hour, and I learned so much.
Yeah. No. When you going through extreme situations, that kind of put you in that mind, like, yo, like,
Fight or flight.
right, like I need to learn this and I need to make it out. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like combat fighting, it's chaos, it's chaotic, and things are moving, and arms and limbs and adrenaline and
Which but that's something that's pretty extreme about you. You do know some type of martial arts, right?
yes, I have been studying martial arts for almost 20 years, but like 18 years. And I
And what are you trained, or what have you learned?
I started uh,
On the bottom, now we're here.
oh, I started training like with Bruce Lee system Jeet Kune Do, and I got
Oh yeah, you can.
into
I've
uh
heard of that.
yeah, and I got into Filipino martial arts, Khalid,
Eskrima?
like
A
Arnie.
different one.
Huh?
I thought it was. Are you gonna say Eskrima? What is it?
Yeah, yeah. Eskrima is part of it. It's also called like Arnis,
Mm.
Khalid, Filipino martial arts, FMA, and but that's more for like the streaks, like self defense. And then I got into MMA, and then I got into Thai boxing and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and stuff. And
Look
but
at
I mean,
you.
yeah, but now I'm more trained to just like health, and stay sharp, and fitness reasons and stuff like that. But my training regimen, it's like it's changed up a lot. Like I kind of stopped lifting like weights. I do yoga, and I practice martial
So
techniques.
that's cool.
I
Yoga.
yeah,
Uh,
and
so what type of martial arts are you in currently in? Currently
well, I mean,
learning?
like I still do a lot of like the screamers, the weapons training, and then a lot of kickboxing. But those are just more like for fitness. You know what I mean? Not just do some rounds and break a sweat, and and stay sharp and stuff like that. So try to stay active. Yeah,
That's
but
dope. Oh, and for my listeners, uh, they don't know where you're based out of.
uh,
He
I
Where
am
are you based out of?
I am in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I've been up here for about 12 years now, but I'm originally from the Bay Area, so
And that's how we met. We met because we worked at Singular, right?
something like that.
We started at Singular, and then I think
Went to
we
AT&T.
ended up going to AT&T
Are we allowed to,
Digital Source.
are we
Did you
allowed?
work at Digital Source?
Yeah, I think so. Are we allowed to mention these brands? We allowed,
Yeah, they're fucking out of business. What are you talking about? And plus, we don't even work for AT&T. Like, what
right?
fuck
Uh,
AT&T? Fuck Singular. Singular's not even around anymore.
Yeah, right. But
I don't
but
have AT&T. Do you?
I have. Are we supposed to tell this right now?
Okay. Well, I mean, what are they gonna do? Sue us? No one listens to my podcast, dude. You're fine.
No, well, I was hoping, they'll be like, oh, it's wrong.
Let's
No,
sponsor them. Well,
I
I like T-Mobile. I still have T-Mobile. Shout out to T-Mobile, even though you guys think I'm a man every time I call
T-Mobile,
customer service. Um, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say? Like, stop saying our name on
right?
your Pretty Extreme podcast. Like, okay, we will stop.
Give us a couple of iPhones, then we'll stop.
Yeah. Okay. There. See. I would have been like, okay, I'll stop. And you're like, give us some iPhones. I'm like, yeah. What he said. What he
Uh,
said.
well, it's funny. I think I watched like one episode of like Conan. He
I
interviewed
love Conan.
like is it Luke Wilson? Owen Wilson's brother, Luke Wilson. So he would Conan say, so what's going on? Like, how's life? Luke Wilson is like, oh, I just recently moved into a new house and still trying to get furniture, like trying to get a big screen TV, and Conan is like, come on, man, you're like a movie star. You can buy a big screen TV. And then Luke Wilson says, well, yeah, I know, but I was hoping I'll be on a show and selling a big screen TV and somebody will give me a TV. and then and then the camera zoom in on Conan. It's like, ain't nobody gonna just give you a TV just because you say you want TV. And he look at the camera, and then Conan looks at the camera and he goes, I like Porsche. Porsche. So hey, maybe manifestations, like, hey, look at these two
Right.
people, they're
Why not?
they're funny as hell. Let's sponsor them and
I
let them go
fucking
on,
love
you know
Conan.
national tour, especially Asian are on the rise. Let's milk this cow. These guys have potential. Let's throw some money in there. Maybe it could be
That's so funny.
investment. I don't know, right? So
That's
I
funny.
I in my podcast, I didn't get a chance to ask you this question, so I'm going to turn around and interview you.
Oh,
One quick question. So, to help you understand what my question was, so I'm going to tell you what, like, I trying to ask. So, okay, my dream and my goal is to have like a warehouse sort of somewhere by the coast, by the beach. And in this warehouse, like, I can teach martial art, I can train martial arts. And then
manifesting this right
and then
now.
on the weekends I can play records and have people come over, and then there's like a
To the
record,
warehouse.
right? There's like a
Yeah.
recording studio, like green screen, so we can make music and shoot music videos and stuff like that. I can do my podcast. So, and like I'm by the beach every day, so it's like I don't really have to go anywhere, and I get to do all the things that I love. And I just, like, I guess it's like my dream. So I just wanted to like ask you, is what is your dream? Like, what kind of, like, you would like to be in, you know what I mean?
You know, I would like to say my goal now is like open a comedy club, and it's funny that you say like a warehouse, because my most recent, because I changed, right? I'm like, oh, okay, I want to open like a comedy club with like multiple rooms where there's like multiple shows going on, kind of similar to the Comedy Store, but there's already a Comedy Store. And then once I had like animals, I was like, oh, I want to do uh like get a barn, own like a farm and like take any stray animals, like people, because it looks like there's an issue here with like shelters not taking animals. So I can only imagine if there was like a domestic violence relationship, like a shelter's full. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
want to open a shelter that's open. You know what I mean? For animals, for people who are in domestic violent relationships. You know what I mean? Like it's a full on open space, and then you can do. And the whole thing is not for profit, and about bringing comedy to the shelter. So I feel like that would be my dream, to be able to open a comedy club showcase venue that can also teach classes, that can also produce shows throughout the day, pretty much 365 days a year. But there's also like a place for comics to stay, and be housed. Um,
Yo,
and also animals.
you're building a lead. You're like, you just
Yeah, I'm trying to build an empire, and then I want
but
the
no, but
animals,
yeah, but
you
that's so beautiful of you, because all, like,
know.
no, because all of this, it just shows like, hey, if you are hurt, I want to bring you in, and if you want to
Yeah.
try comedy, here's a platform. It's like, and I just wanted to say is there's never enough comedy club, because if you have the more comedy club, the more opportunity to break comedians, like in a good way, like discover them and give them opportunities and chances. Because a lot of times it is the lack of exposure, is the lack of, that's why, like, instead of doing, like, going to club and stand up for open mic, they just focus on like doing funny skits on Instagram, and like this Instagram comedians, you know what I mean? Like they want to kind of move on toward like comedy style actor rather like stand-up comedian, which is like two different things, because a stand-up comedian might can be a comedy actor, but a comedy actor cannot be a stand-up
Be a
comedian.
stand-up comedian. Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's just
100%.
yeah, it's
That's
just
not necessarily they can try though.
right,
You know.
right. It's like you can figure skate doesn't make you a dope hockey player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right.
So it's
But you can, you can be trained. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how far are you willing to go
that's
sometimes?
see that's another thing, right? How far are you willing to go? So that's all really
100%.
question. People say, "Oh, I really want to do this. Is the opportunity I lack?" Okay, I get it. Okay, well, here's the opportunity now. Now, what you gonna say? I gotta go to Sacramento with my mom on Tuesday. So, you know what I mean? Like people will always find a like a excuse. You know what I mean? To like do, not follow their passion. So, but hey, no, seriously, like you have a heart of gold that you always look out for people. You have looked out for me always, whenever we work together. I remember I used to live like in the boonies, and after work, and you would like, give me a ride home, and which is like very generous, you didn't have to, you know what I mean? So that's just the kind of person you are. And I'm just so glad that like it's a full circle all these years, 20 plus years. You haven't lost that. Yes, you have experienced some things, but like it didn't kill you. Like, it didn't
No, it didn't. It didn't.
it made you even more affirm and assured of who you are.
100%.
You know what I mean? So,
100%.
we have to take, unfortunately, if life is always just positive, we wouldn't really appreciate it as much. But it's like the negative, something happens, sometimes we see it happen to somebody else and we go, oh my God, this is precious and I need to make the best of it. Or, this happened to me, but I'm still here, and let's make the best of it. You know what I mean? So that's, yeah. While you're saying that barn and like, in comedy and like a resort type situation, I was a fingers crossed, toes crossed, because I'm like, hell yeah,
I'm manifesting, man.
yes, absolutely. Speak into existence. There's power in
Yeah.
your voice, and I definitely believe in you, because you're a go-getter, and you put your mind into something and you did it. And yeah, like stand-up comedy, you didn't start it when you were young. You're already a full-grown adult. You're
Yeah.
married, you're a parent already,
Kid. Yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden you dive on in into like a complete different territory. Like that takes guts, that
Well,
takes,
and you
yeah.
know, I don't know if this is how it was. Sorry, just a few more minutes ago. I just want to say like I don't know if this is how it was when you were growing up, but when I was growing up, I just never really felt like I fit in anywhere. Like in high school, like I wasn't accepted by my own people, the Filipinos, because I didn't look Filipino, I didn't dress Filipino, I didn't sound Filipino, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I had an not necessarily an identity crisis, but maybe an identity crisis. I just didn't know like who should I be, but I just always knew to be kind, right? Always be funny to people. And then once I got old enough and I found out more about like stand up comedy and then I joined the community, I've never felt so a part of something in my life, you know? And it's
Yeah.
only 10 years. I'm 40 years old. And I'm sure that's the same thing with you for music. You know what I mean? Like there's the scene in the music, the arts industry, and then I'm sure even in your martial arts industry, I'm sure there's like a family there for you and you feel a part of it. And it's a little empowering, you know what I mean? Knowing that you belong.
No, definitely. Yeah, yeah. The you know having a
Your
support,
purpose.
right, having a support from the community definitely is definitely helpful, definitely beneficial. So I definitely agree in what you're saying, and we need that support.
Unity,
Yes.
right?
You know.
You said earlier, awareness. That's one of the key words. Like I'm a very spiritual person, and I awareness has been like the word that just keeps popping up in my head, and I feel like awareness is such a key to just like water is life, you were saying before, and what is it? There was something else you said, but I forgot. But uh, what was I saying? Awareness is such a key thing because once a person, an individual knows that they are aware, then it's up to them if they want to keep it going. Is it a positive, you know, outcome on knowing that you're aware now, whatever the situation is, or is it a negative
Yeah.
thing, being
Uh,
aware of what it is that now that and I feel like if we're aware and if we choose the good choices or the right choices, the correct choices, this will help us become better people. There's a lot of people making bad choices. I mean, who am I to say that they're making bad choices? But when it involves crime, hate, violence, it's a bad choice,
that is definitely,
you
definitely.
know?
The benefit I get from yoga is, now see, like when you do
I
yoga,
think that's amazing. I think that's great
uh,
that you're doing yoga.
thank you. And it's like, when you do yoga, your mind, the intellect is dialed in, and when your higher self is like dialed in, you would automatically start doing things that is good for you. Like you don't have to think about, oh, I shouldn't do this, I should do this. Like
Right. It becomes second nature where you don't think I shouldn't. It's just automatic.
exactly, like it's kind of like
This is the right thing to do. You know what I
um
mean?
it's funny. Last night, I don't know if I mentioned it to you before, but I was part of a film, and last night we were shooting another like a makeup scene, like certain shots. I was out till like, we worked until like 3:30, and I didn't get home, and like I ate, and and so I didn't go to sleep until like 5:15, 5:30 this morning, and then I got up at 8:15 and did yoga. Like I wasn't like, oh my god,
You
this
did
is.
it by yourself or do you do it with a
Yeah,
class?
yeah, I did it by myself.
Oh, that's good.
Wasn't like, oh my god, I drank so much because I had some tequila last night. And it's like I drank so much, like I was so tired. Like the whole time, it was not negative. It's like I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do yoga, I'm gonna feel good. Because, like to me, I felt like, yes, the process is gonna be hard, but as long as you keep moving, you are gonna head there. You're gonna get to where you're gonna be, and keep that motivation. Right? It doesn't have to be big thing like I do it for this, I do it for that. It's not. Just get up, you do this thing, this one thing. If you could do it, then you're
It's a
on
start.
track. You're
Yeah.
on good track, right? And that's really it. It's like, well, realistically, right? Just 3 hours of sleep, I was just like, oh my god, I'll be in a bad mood, and what I mean, and like just not in a right state of mind. But like practicing yoga, it kind of like helped me dial in, you
How long
know,
have you been doing yoga now?
that awareness. You're gonna laugh at me. Um, Today is my week, like
That's why would I laugh?
7 days.
I'm surprised you're even doing yoga.
Because you'd be like, oh, you've been doing it for years now. Come up
No,
with
no, no,
this.
no. It sounded like it was new because when we were talking about it earlier, like I was like, or when I was on your podcast, or you're talking about yoga, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know you started doing yoga. I always knew you were doing like martial arts and stuff like that, and so when I knew it was something new,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
didn't know it was that new, like a week. I was thinking maybe like a year, you know?
right. Well, because like little bit over 10 days ago, I stumbled upon a video on YouTube that is like a conversation with Mike Tyson and this yoga guru, and I was like, wow, this is very interesting. So I followed the guru and listening to his lecture for like 4 days, and then I go,
Oh my God.
and but like I was already in the verge of like breakthrough. Like I want to get out of the stage that I was in, because I was in a lot of back pain and neck pain and knee pain, and
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 did it
I,
work? Is it working?
it's it didn't cure. It's not enough like time to like cure my back pain, but
Right, right.
it's
It takes time.
improving. It's definitely improving, and I feel it. So I keep going. I can
Oh,
improve my,
okay, good.
but like I see the pain, the neck pain, the back pain is like affecting me, that like I don't have the energy to go out with my daughter and like to do stuff with her. Like it like affect how I talk to people because I'm in so much pain and I don't want to take pharmaceutical. You know what I mean? So it's like I need to find a way because
Do you smoke
I'm,
weed?
like yeah, I medicate, but it's like you know,
Okay.
like I'm
I'm just
41.
making
I could,
sure. So
right?
do I.
It's
I said
like,
I was just making sure.
oh, of course. Uh, hey, it's like Nate Dogg says, smoke weed every day.
Yeah. Da da
The
da da
lifestyle.
da.
You know, but so I'm you know uh thankful for this, like enlightenment that I'm experiencing, and I just wanted and then motivate me to keep digging and find out. Like, it's not like, oh, now I'm gonna just worship this guru. Like, I still treat this guru like a human. I mean, sure, but this human being knows a lot more than me. Absolutely, there's something that I can learn from. But at the end of the day, we're all human. We all gonna have flaws. So you know, learn the things that's useful for you, absorb what is useful and reject what is useless, like Bruce Lee says. And this life, like there's things that I learned from you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, being loving and being kind and and like not afraid to open up and and like because you always make people feel so welcome, and that's a great attribute, like characteristic to like tick, you know what I mean? And like
I feel like that's my culture, Like I feel like Filipinos. I don't know if you know any Filipinos in Portland, Oregon,
yeah,
but the Filipinos out here, they're very welcoming. Most Filipinos I know, they're like, "Oh, come on, let's eat," and then
yeah,
I feel like that's how I am spiritually, emotionally,
because I think like
mentally.
culture that kind of come from like not having so much, that when they have something they're inclined to share because they know what it's like to not have,
Right,
you know
100%.
yeah,
You hit it right on the nose.
right,
Yeah, right on the nose. It's like we're taught it naturally because we yearn for it, we want it, and so we want that just as much to give to other people.
yeah.
Um,
No, it's very simple, but yet it's very
yeah.
profound, and that just shows like something that is
Oh, thanks.
peaceful.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like complicated. It could be just a simple act, and 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 leaves a lot more impact than something that's like like rocket science. I mean, rocket science is important, but I'm just saying it's like nothing that it doesn't have to be like complicated in order to be appreciated. Something simple can also be appreciated.
No, I agree. And on that note, we are here at almost the end of the episode. Thank you so much for doing the Pretty Extreme podcast, Billy. Where can people find out more about you?
Thank First of all, thank you for having me. You can
Oh, you're welcome.
right? You can find me on Instagram. I started my podcast, the Soulciety podcast. The THE and Soulciety is SOULCIETY podcast, PODCAST. You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me under Billy Soul, aka Sunny Nice, all in one word. And if you type all that, you'll see a uh, ghost emoji with the flame, and that's my crew, Soulfire. And so I'm on Instagram. Pretty much that's all I am. That's all I, you know, social as far as social media wise. I don't have a Twitter, and I rarely like do Facebook because they always trying to sell me something, and I'm like, I'm just done. You know, you know.
I'll buy it.
It's like one pro is like trying to sell me a cooler and like a weed whacker and like a foam roller. you know,
I'll buy it.
yeah, this is
Just
good,
share it with me. Maybe they'll stop,
right?
or they might share it more. They're gonna be like, "This guy keeps sharing it. Let me go and send him." Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But even the
I'm
algorithm is extreme, right? Goddamn.
I know. And I am on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, you can find me PX Comedy. You can find out more at pxcomedy.org. We do have Eventbrite tickets available on my website for any upcoming or regular shows that I produce. Also, I have first Sunday of every month. We have our first monthly comedy showcase at Foxtail. Wendy and Felipe. Congratulations to them. They are actually celebrating their honeymoon
Hey,
out that time. So shout out to them.
like shout out.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure the place is up to par, so don't worry, it's gonna be great. And then first Mondays of every month, I will be in Stockton at the beautiful Crown Stack Coffee. I'll go also there. Just reach out to me if you want to go ahead and get some tickets. I'm trying to see if I have anything else upcoming because this episode will probably drop the next couple of days. Oh, you said you spin at a spot out in Portland, Oregon. So in case I have listeners out there,
Yeah,
where can they tune
every
into you?
Thursday I play records at the Cheerful Tortoise by PSU with the OG DJ Wicked. Shout out to DJ Wicked. Yeah, every Thursday we're at the Cheerful Tortoise from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. playing nothing but throwbacks, 90s and 2000 feel good music, you know what I mean? And it's all vinyl, so no laptop, just all vinyls. We bring our crates and, we get the party started.
And for people who don't know what vinyl is, it's the round thing
Records,
that you put on a record player. Yeah.
put on a
And
turntable
then,
and play,
yeah, turntables. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Billy, again for being on the show. It's awesome to always have you catch up with you. You know what I mean? Don't say have you. But thank you. We'll definitely catch up. I'm gonna have to tour out that way, and hopefully when I do tour out that way, we
I
get to connect or
definitely
maybe
have to.
update and do live.
Yes. That
Yeah.
sounds good. And once again, thank you, PX. Thank you for having me. Pretty Extreme podcast, awesome podcast. Keep listening. Tell your friends. Don't forget to forget to like. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. PX is
Yes,
beautiful,
please.
and we need PX. We need
Oh, thank
more
you. You're
more
so
people
sweet,
like
Billy.
yes. Work with,
Definitely, and they're out there. I believe that they're out there.
and I
You
believe
know.
I believe too. So shout out to all of beautiful, kind-hearted, loving people out there, and keep being loved,
Yeah.
being kind.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful life.
Yes, thank you. Peace.